Okay, so after our hiking video, which was a bonus video for you guys, well, when you watched this 2 days ago, but for me yesterday, um, I made a quick little update video and I gave you some teasers. Now, before I get to the teasers, I want to show you that the pepper plants are still putting out peppers just about everywhere. It's like a pepper apocalypse. Yeah. And little baby peppers are starting to grow much larger since we harvested the slightly larger pepper. So, yeah. And look at these jalapenos. Look at the size of these jalapenos. And they're finally starting to turn red, so it's going to be a decent harvest. Now, earlier in this season, my bean plant stopped producing beans. And normally for me, that's it. That's the end of the season for beans. I get one harvest. And because I planted extremely late in the season, I assumed that was it. Well, then I had the little spider mite invasion that has been going on and off since, and I do have, if I can focus, maybe not, I do have spider mites again. But I have 3 plants that are putting out a whole lot of new growth. Yeah, no, I lopped these plants back to almost nothing, trying to get rid of the spider mites. Yep. I had a bean flower there. I pollinated it, and hopefully I'll get a bean from that. I've got new growth down at the bottom. Over here, I got new growth coming out everywhere, and some bean flowers that are going to be starting up. I even have new growth on this one. Yeah. So, that one as well has new growth. So we're probably, see the little bean flower about to open? I know, I'm getting all over the place. So I'm going to have a second harvest. I'm not expecting it to be anything special or spectacular. I did lose half of the plants, but 4 of them came back quite surprisingly. Like, I was not expecting this at all. So, probably get enough for the kids to munch on for lunch or whatnot. Nothing too grand. And hopefully I'll be able to get some pyrethrin or neem oil and treat my plants for the spider mites. Yeah. I never figured I would be battling spider mites so ferociously outside. Inside, yeah, because I have no natural predators. But outside, I did not expect to be fighting spider mites because there's supposed to be a balancing act. But I have no natural predators. I have 1 praying mantis, and he hasn't been doing anything to the spider mites. He's been eating everything else in my garden, but not the spider mites. So, we'll see what happens. I just find it fascinating that this is my first year doing a container garden. And it's surprising me. I am enjoying this much more than an in-ground garden. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the full rundown on the bean plants. I gave up on these things. There was a certain point where I wasn't even watering them anymore. And all of a sudden, they're like, hey, I'm going to grow. I'm going to produce more beans. So, but, here we go. Those are my spider mites. They are all over the place on my cucumbers. In fact, they are starting to kill my cucumbers. And my cucumbers that are growing have ceased to grow. They've been the same size for a while now. And they're even starting to finally go after the new growth, the tender new growth. I'm still getting male flowers, but I'm not getting any females to be put out. And it is already September, so I was not planning on doing anything else about the spider mites on this particular plant. I mean, I might treat it to protect my other plants, but I've pretty much given up on this plant. This is now a lost cause. I've treated it several times for the spider mite invasion, and they just keep coming back. And so they're gonna have the cucumbers, and what else can I do? I cannot keep treating the plant, but there's Mr. Mantis. There's Mr. Mantis hanging out on the leaves. And I did my research, and the brown versus green doesn't really mean anything. It is just camouflage. So it is what it is. But from the bean pods that I was letting dry, the ones I did not take inside, my little baby girl planted some of the seeds over here, and she's been watering them. Yes, little Miss Anastasia. And they're starting to grow. So I might have to take these beans inside, because September's next week. And typically harvest is September, October. So I do not see these fully maturing and producing fruit. I just don't. Just like these guys. They're starting to produce tomatoes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to harvest them ripe or green. Especially because these tomatoes are taking forever to ripen. So, yeah, whatever I don't get, I'm going to pick green and let ripen up in the house. But, yeah. So, that is my update. I mean, the spider mites are even starting to decimate the new flowers that are coming out. Mr. Bumblebee is not too thrilled. And then I've got these Japanese beetles that look like ladybugs that are eating the plant too, and I've said no more. I'm not treating this plant anymore. So next year I have to come up with an attack plan for the spider mites, the thrip, the vine borers, and figure something out to protect my plants ahead of time. So, yeah. That's about it. So, I'll see you guys later. My neighbor's starting to play music, so I gotta cut this video short to make sure it doesn't pop up on here, and maybe I'll be back out later, but, it's probably gonna be dark when I get home from work, so. But yeah, look at the red jalapeno as we go, and the red tomatoes. So, thank you for watching.